the Financial Legacy Podcast. I am your host, Maria Ellis. On every episode, I will bring you my perspective and the perspective of my guests on financial planning and financial legacy topics. Here on the Financial Legacy Podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time by creating your own financial plan and financial legacy to help you create and enjoy your financial success. Connect with us at financiallegacy.live for your complimentary consultation. Today, I'm happy to share with you my new book, Redefining Entrepreneurial Success, a healthy guide to a holistic lifestyle. My number one book gave you details as to how to achieve financial freedom. My second book helped you create a family business legacy. So I wrote this third book to help you redefine entrepreneurial success, because entrepreneurial success is not only about having a profitable business, it is also living a healthy and holistic lifestyle, which will enable you to enjoy the success of your business with your family members, friends, and stakeholders, right? So it's important, obviously, for you to have good health in order to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, correct? So people would say, well, tell me, Maria, what is a holistic lifestyle, right? So holistic lifestyle is really holistic, means it refers to the whole person, right? Includes your body, includes your mind, your spirit, your soul, your emotions, right? It's holistic, it's the whole person. Our emotions, as you know, are just part of our day-to-day living, right? Managing our emotions is really a quest for optimal health and wellness. So really, is this even a problem, right? But many of my clients who own small and medium-sized companies, they really concentrate and dedicate most of their time to creating and managing their business in order for the business to become profitable. Therefore, what happens is that there are so many hours in a day, right? They don't often delegate, and consequently, they don't take care of their health, and oftentimes their family relationships also, are not taken care of because they don't have enough time in a day to be able to spend quality time with their wives, their husbands, children, and so on and so forth. So most business owners tend to worry about, making the next quarterly earnings, for instance, or they are having company challenges. There are always opportunities and challenges, as you know, when you're running your own business. Oftentimes, business owners tend to like to have control, right? And so they tend to have a stressful life, and they have no time really to spend in exercising, taking care of their health, and having fun and enjoy the relationships. So I wrote this book to help you prioritize your life and to encourage you to live a healthy and a holistic lifestyle. In this book, I will share with you ideas about nutrition. Nutrition is so essential, right? It's every day we have all these choices of, what kind of foods are we going to have. And the book also shares with you some recipes as to how to prepare balanced meals and how to increase wellness with food. You know that you're supposed to have, a lot of green plants and a lot of veggies, right? And little or no starch, and very small meats and that sort of thing. So it talks about balancing your plate, having a colorful plate that you actually enjoy, and that is going to be nutritional for your body. So the book also talks about movement, right? Movement is very important for us. So I talk about movement through yoga as an example, to try to familiarize ourselves with our body, our chakras. As you learning about yoga, you learn about the chakras, central focal points in your body, and you learn about your energy patterns and how energy creates your experiences, right? So you will learn also to enhance your wellness by learning about the importance of sleeping cycles, right? Sleeping is something, again, that we do so natural, like we eat our food on a daily basis. And sleeping is critical, how to best regenerate our body and our minds, right? We need sleep to be able to, for us to feel good the next day. For instance, right now I'm using a free online application called Sleep Space. And you can obtain this free online application to help you monitor the amount of hours that you sleep every night, and how well you slept, how many sound disruptions you have, how many awakenings you experience throughout the night, which helps you realize, um, how much energy you will enjoy the next day. And if you do not have a restful sleep, then you can adjust your behavior accordingly. So I found that application to be sort of a way of keeping track of areas that you need to improve, and it keeps track on a daily basis. So it's really good. It makes you aware of your sleeping patterns and how often throughout the night you wake up, and how many disruptions you have, and what's the noise level in your room, and so on and so forth. Little things like even the air conditioning coming on, sometimes that might wake you. So in this book, I also share with you techniques to reduce the stress, enhance your wellness, how best to manage unresolved emotions, right? Emotions, again, just is part of what we have to enjoy on a day-to-day basis, right? So practicing emotional cleaning or clearing is very important. And again, you will learn some techniques about that. You will also learn how to establish a daily self-care routine for lasting health and happiness. Daily self-care routine, that's something that is, not many of us actually do, right? So we just get so busy doing whatever we have to do, and we don't take care of ourselves. So you will have an opportunity also, as you read in this book, to be able to reflect on spirituality as an example. I will help you identify some of the obstacles that will hold you back from implementing some of these ideas. And of course, towards the end of the book, we talk about how does it feel to live in a healthy and a holistic lifestyle, right? So I know it feels really great. And of course, you're a fun person to be around because you're feeling good, and you're just positive in all aspects. So as a Chopra certified health instructor and practitioner, it is my duty, really, and my pleasure, to introduce you to the Ayurvedic lifestyle to help you return to balance and wholeness. Balance and wholeness, right? That's a key for us to operate effectively on a day-to-day basis. So some of the Ayurvedic practices include meditation, for instance. Meditation is something that is so important in order for us to have an opportunity to reflect and to really visualize what it is, who is our future self, what it is that we want to accomplish, what's the purpose of our life, what is next for us, where are we in terms of our well-being, in terms of our growth, in terms of our goals, in terms of the people around us. I mean, it just helps to clear all of that through meditation. I use yoga a lot as a way to relax, and a way really to become centered and focused, and pay attention to how you feel. We mentioned nutrition earlier, emotional well-being, and physical activity. Those are some of the practices that the Ayurvedic practices entail. So, as a Chopra certified health instructor and practitioner now, I have realized the importance of breathing exercises also to help you shift your consciousness toward health and happiness. It is interesting. Breathing is something again that we don't even think about, right? We just breathe. Without a breath, we don't exist, right? So therefore, we take it for granted. And yet, there's so much about breathing that we could be learning and we could be using on a day-to-day basis. Um, when I was younger, I used to think that I did not have time for such wellness kinds of activities, right? I thought to myself that, oh, one day when my company is profitable or when I retired, I could create and implement a wellness program for myself. That's what I thought. I was very young, very foolish. I was running my own business, being a loving wife, raising two sons. My husband was also an entrepreneur. I was taking care of my family, my clients, everyone else's needs, um, except myself. I didn't take care of myself. I was so busy and tired that I did not pay attention to my own health. Suddenly, one early morning, I woke up with such intense pain on my belly that I could not get up from bed. I could not get up from my bed. I tried to get up, but the pain was so severe that all I could say to my husband was, please take me to the hospital. Please take me to the hospital. I was rushed to the hospital, and then the doctors examined me. They recommended I get operated immediately. Being a business entrepreneur, I did not maintain a healthy eating and exercise schedule. I told myself I did not have time for self care. Well, after being hospitalized, my gallbladder was removed, and it was then that I realized that I have been eating the wrong foods, the fatty foods, the fried foods, the dairy products, the sugary foods, the carbonated soft drinks, which have triggered my gallbladder attacks, over the years, right? I mean, there's so much that your body could take, and your body takes a lot of abuse. So it isn't until something happens and we rush to the hospital or we're fighting for our life that we realize that we need to change, right? So why wait till that, right? But somehow we as humans, that's what we do. I know life is busy. I know we have to take care of everybody else, but we also need to take care of ourselves, right? We don't need to wait until we have to seek an emergency medical treatment. We need to start taking care of ourselves now, immediately. So, this behavior of not wanting to make time to take care of ourselves is really typical for most busy people, for most entrepreneurs. After my gallbladder was removed, I started paying closer attention to my health. I started exercising and eating better. However, it wasn't until I became a Chopra certified health instructor and practitioner that I created a morning and an evening self care routine to enable me to minimize my daily stress by learning how best to manage stress and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. Stress, again, is part of our daily lives, right? So, how we react to stress is very important. So, one of the ways that I reduce my stress, the stress in my life, was by creating a morning and an evening routine. Practicing the morning and evening routine will keep the body in good health and enjoy a strong body and a clear mind. My morning routine starts by waking up early in the morning, approximately between 5:30 and 6 a.m. Okay. I immediately start doing exercising. My favorite exercise is yoga, um, and swimming as well. So, swimming has become really one of my favorite exercises because just utilize basically all the muscles on your body, and it also gives me time to reflect while I'm doing swimming, or if I'm trying to memorize a song or something that I'm trying to memorize. I use that time when I'm swimming also to reflect and to think and to memorize things. So my daily morning routine takes me about an hour and a half, and that includes your swimming, flexibility exercises, mindful movements, right? Meditating and reflecting are important times, important activities for your day. Um, Journaling and practicing pranayama, I have found also to be now part of my daily routine. Ayurveda practitioners, such as, for instance, Dr. Deepak Chopra, um, it takes him about 2 to 3 hours uh, in his morning routine. So again, as you start, you don't necessarily have to start at 1.5 hours, but you could start, setting aside maybe 15, 20 minutes and then increasing it depending on, what your favorite exercise is. And certainly make a little bit of time. If you don't have time to journaling, just write something in your diary at the beginning and at the end of the day, things that you need to accomplish and things that you're looking forward to do. So that's sort of my morning routine. So I also mentioned earlier that, practicing the pranayama was very important. And for some of you who may not know what pranayama is, pranayama is the practice of becoming aware of your breath, right? And using it to enhance your physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. Prana means life force. Ayama means to expand, to draw out, to control, right? So the breathing exercise, the pranayama, enables you to use your breath, to expand your life force, the energy, and to improve communication of all parts of your body, mind, and soul. By creating the breath, we could train ourselves to breathe in a way that it positively influences our health. I never understood that concept, and yet it is so simple, right? And it isn't until you actually applying it in your daily life that you realize how critically important uh, our thoughts affect our breathing, for instance. Our breathing influences our thoughts and our physiologically as well. Um, if you breathe correctly, the mind is calm, your breathing is deep, is rhythmic, and the body engages in its natural self repair, self healing mechanisms. When I started studying how wonderful our body is, I mean, it's really a marvel. Has to be one of the marvels in life. Our body is so wise, and it really it has its own natural ways of repairing itself and self-healing mechanisms, and that help us the continuation of humankind. Well, I know we all live busy lives, and stress often, enters into our lives, right? It can come in our normal day-to-day activities. Um, Minor things such as perhaps frustration. Let's say you're driving to work, perhaps there's a traffic jam and you get frustrated about it, right? Or perhaps you are having a difficult conversation with a loved one, your husband, your wife, family member, or even a business partner, right? So that creates frustration. However, stress can be generated also by money worries, or perhaps you all of a sudden you have a health scare, find that you are not in such a good health as you saw perhaps you were after you had your physical exam. Hopefully, all of you have an annual physical exam. So, again, that's a passive way of monitoring our health. So stress affects you physically, emotionally, and psychologically as well. So stress is a fact of life, but you determine how it affects your life, right? Stress management will help you develop a strategy to change the way you look at things. Oh, that's so important. Changing the way you look at things. What you interpret a conversation. It is so critical, right? One of the ways to manage stress is to question our negative thoughts. Oftentimes we have negative thoughts, but we need to be aware of that and try to minimize them. Also, it's important to avoid jumping to conclusions, right? Don't jump to conclusions right away. Have time to reflect and to think about it. Learn to identify stress signals, and by identifying them ahead of time, you could be able to manage them better. So, yoga breathing, pranayama, can rapidly bring the mind to the present moment and to reduce stress. That's why I really enjoy the yoga breathing, the pranayama, because it allows your mind to be focused in the moment, and to let everything else go of your busy mind. The health benefits of coherent breathing includes decreasing anxiety and depression. Believe it or not, it also improves your health. Sometimes if I have had a very busy day and my mind is still very busy and I'm not able to sleep right away as my head hits the pillow, I just do some breathing exercises, and that relaxes my body and allows me to slowly go to sleep. So, breathing again strengthens the immune functions. It also reduces inflammation and increases resilience. So, your breathing is affected by your thoughts, and your thoughts and so physiologically are influenced by your breath. So they're very interconnected. If I am in a challenging situation, for instance, my initial reaction is to respond right away, and oftentimes in a negative fashion, right? But I have learned to silently take a couple of deep breaths before I respond in a negative manner. I take a couple of breaths, and which allows me to, recover my posture and think about what it is that I want to accomplish at that particular moment in time. What is the end result that I want out of that conversation? And then respond accordingly, right? Because oftentimes people are into these serious discussions, and oftentimes they say things that they didn't mean to say, right? So, but once you said it, it's too late to hold it back. You can't. So, especially in difficult and challenging situation, um, deep breathing really helps you to regain your posture. So, one of my favorite breathing exercises is what is called the victorious breath. And the victorious breath is, in the Sanskrit, is known as the Ujjayi. So I'm going to show you briefly how that works. It's a gentle and rhythmic breath that produces a pleasant sound, like the sound of the ocean waves. It calms and cools the mind. It releases any feelings of irritation or frustration. It allows you to dissipate. it mildly warms your energies and energizes your body from the core and creates a stabilizing influence on the cardiorespiratory system. So to receive the full benefits, practice the Ujjayi breath for about, I do between 5 and 10 full rounds each day, gently, smooth, and mindfully. So let's try it now. So what you do is you sit comfortably with a straight spine, with your left hands comfortably on your lap, with your mouth gently closed. Take an inhalation through your nose, and it's a slightly deep. That is a slightly deeper than normal. So, mm, right, you take a deep breath. You inhale through your nose. That is a slightly deeper than the normal. Next, gently constrict the muscles of your back and the throat, and exhale through your nose. So, deep breath in and deep breath out with your mouth closed. All right, so this should produce a sound like the waves of the ocean. You may also want to do it. I like hearing that the waves, the waves of the ocean. So when I do it, I also do it with my mouth open. So keeping, going through that same exercise, just breathing deeply and exhale it with your mouth open. So it goes like this. All right, just concentrating on the breath. It just gives you a certain calmness, right? It just lets any worries dissipate, and you just concentrate on your breathing. So I find that exercise really, really good. I hope that you find this very brief breathing exercise also relaxing, and that you could apply that on your day-to-day living. So now I'd like to just spend a few minutes on my practice, my evening routines, right? What I do in the evenings. So I have discovered that eating a light dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before the bedtime is best for my digestion. So, and it's also a way, by the way, the Ayurvedic lifestyle recommends, right? Don't eat any late meals. I know business owners, and I have done that myself, as you go out for dinner with friends or a business meeting, you have dinner and drinks at 7, end up having, finishing dinner at 9, and it's just that particular lifestyle is not necessarily the best, right, for your health when you have a full stomach and then you be going to bed. And oftentimes people don't go to bed right away because they have a full stomach, and so they spend time watching television and doing stuff that it isn't necessarily helpful either. That late at night when you actually need to be resting and need to be getting ready for bed. So I also enjoy, you know, perhaps if you have had a heavy meal, maybe take 5-15 minutes. And what I like to do is I like to simply walk. You just walk for a nice neighborhood walk. I live in Manhattan, in the west side of Manhattan, close to the Hudson River. So I just go out for a nice evening walk, and it just feels so good. And the, cool air oftentimes is just really nice breeze by the river. So it's also important to enjoy light activity in the evening before you go to bed. I like getting my schedule ready for the next day, for instance. It's important to minimize any intense mental work before bedtime. Also, do not have any electronic stimulation. I know it's very tempting to answer emails, after 10 o'clock. Sometimes I have done that. And I know it's not the best, but sometimes, I have done that. But keep in mind that that's not highly recommended. And please don't watch any violent or sad movies before you go to bed. That's that's not fun either. So I know that all these things and new habits are kind of hard sometimes to accomplish. And as we have busy schedules, to create these habits before going to bed, sometimes it is difficult. But try to start these routines. In my case, I like to go to bed before, I would say around 10:30 p.m. Um, my husband starts his day at noon and ends at midnight. So oftentimes our schedules don't match. So you just have to, you just have to work things out and see what's important. Again, that's part of your self-care routine, in terms of what you need to do. We all have different needs. We're all individuals. We all have different needs, right? So we need to pay attention to that. So I have found also that journaling, right? Writing down your thoughts, journaling is very beneficial, especially as I recall all the blessings that I have enjoyed for the day. Journaling and living in gratitude for the vital force that sustains us in every moment of our lives is very important. It's a very important part of my evening routines. Journaling and being grateful for every breath we take. So, in closing, I would like to thank you for tuning into the Financial Legacy Podcast here with me, Maria Ellis. To learn more about how to work with me, go to financiallegacy.life. Here on the Financial Legacy Podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time to help you create and enjoy your financial success. Connect with us at financiallegacy.life for your complimentary consultation. Namaste.
In providing answers, neither Maria Ellis nor the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers are acting as certified financial planners, advisors, certified financial analysts, CPAs, economists, accountants, or lawyers. Neither Maria Ellis or the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers make any recommendations as to any specific securities or investments. All content is for informational and general purposes only and does not constitute as financial or legal advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, and financial advisors regarding your particular situation. Neither Maria Ellis nor Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers accept any responsibility for any loss that may arise from accessing or reliance from any information in this podcast. And to the extent permitted by law, we exclude all liabilities for any loss or damages derived directly or indirectly arising from the use of the information.